che Società. Bray. The next station is Bray. This is the last stop. Please mind the gap.
So Bray has hit a new high, or is it low? The takeaway latte that I ordered the other day cost me €4.75.
They don't mention the premises before.
No names will be mentioned, but like, come on.
€4.70. Was it like oat, soya?
It was just a Jesus latte.
Okay.
Like it's
takeaway.
The average price, according to the interweb, is between, I don't know, $3.70 and $4.10, not $4.75 in Bray.
I'd say Liz Ann would come back out of retirement if she heard us talking about that, because
that's shocking.
Definitely Patrick wouldn't be charging those prices on the Queensborough Road. Shocking, Mark.
There's a thing that we did discuss before, and that is to do some sort of survey of the coffee shops in Bray and get a consensus as to which might be the best or perceived to be the best. Well, I don't know. There's all sorts
when you talk about takeaway food or whatever, and you see that posted on forums, where's the best Chinese or where's the best this? You often get people who what they propose, you would say, oh my geez, I wouldn't eat out of that place or whatever. So it's hit and miss. Obviously, have you tried the new Greek takeaway, Leah?
I have not. Sorry.
Okay, it's on the Dublin Road. They're opposite the Brayite garage, Circle K.
Greek
takeaway. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Nice.
It gets great reviews.
Yeah,
it's there is a chippers beside it called Fishmongers. Or chipmongers, and just up from the coach inn.
Yes,
so you go up and before you turn into Palermo is on the corner there, a white building, and it's a new Greek takeaway. Okay. Maybe after us mentioning it, we could probably order some stuff from it now. Mention their name, get 10% off, or get it for free.
I doubt that's going to happen, but it's not fair just to mention one takeaway when there's so many in Bray.
Yeah, maybe we should do a few ads, Mark.
In a couple of minutes we are going to do a few ads, actually. But I've been in trouble with these two before for mentioning football, and my hunch was correct. We've had a huge amount of people listening to the Busby Babes story with Shay Ryan, the goalkeeper, and so on. So I'm going to while I'm on a roll here, before they interrupt me, I'm just going to mention one other sporting related detail about someone from Bray. And that is a gentleman called Darren Reynolds. Do either of you know who Darren Reynolds is?
I'm afraid not.
Okay. Do you know what the Ryder Cup is?
Yes.
And who won the Ryder Cup recently?
The European team.
Correct. And who got the decisive putt?
Rory.
No,
the other fellow.
Shane
Lowry. Yeah.
And Shane Lowry's caddy is Darren Reynolds, and Darren Reynolds is from Bray.
Go away.
So there you go. And he's not the only Ryder Cup winning team caddy from Bray, because way back in the past a guy called Matthew Byrne caddied for Christy O'Connor Jr. in the 1989 Ryder Cup at the Belfry.
It was a way of earning money for guys years ago.
Absolutely.
They used to go over to Woodbrook and hang around, and then the caddy master come out and pick them out of the queue. A bit like the navvies in London waiting on the corner, to get picked up.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating, isn't it?
I only did it once, and I had to kind of watch what the guys were doing when they were asking for whatever. And it turned out it was called a scratch cup, I believe, okay?
Oh, yeah.
That it was a couple, or I don't know, whatever the team. They won. Anyway, and I discovered afterwards that even though we got paid from the golfers, we didn't get the tip that was meant to be coming our way, So I never did it again.
That was your first and last time, caddy. Welcome to Bray Talking Heads.
Hello, this is Leah.
And Pat.
And Mark. Now, another thing that came up in the survey that we did recently was the love that people seem to have for the ads, the old BLB radio commercials, because I suppose it reminds them of businesses that no longer exist in Bray. So here's a few more while we just take a quick break.
High fashions direct from the Orient are now available in Bray. Three Brothers Limited are at 112 Main Street, beside the Bank of Ireland, and they stock ladies and girls, blouses, skirts, dresses, sandals and maternity wear, all from India and the Far East. Listen to these opening offers. Grandad shirts are $4.99, Vico scarves $1.99, and skirts start at $10.99. Three Brothers Limited are wholesalers and now offer you high-quality Oriental fashions at great prices at 112 Main Street, Bray. Telephone 868578.
Marks Limited on Main Street, Bray have everything for the garden, the home and the professional tradesman. At Marks there's unbeatable value in electric drills, kits from £39.95 and attachments. Special offers include free saw and sander attachments. For the lowest possible prices in the entire Black & Decker range, call to Marks. See the range of socket sets and selection of tools for craftsmen and home users. For expert saw sharpening, spare parts, garden accessories and after-sales service, remember, Marks, Main Street, Bray.
Oh, you know, George, I'd love a T-bone steak now.
10 o'clock in the morning and he's starving. You know where you should go?
Oh, no, don't tell me.
Oh, seriously, though. You should try the Gondor restaurant. A 4-course special's only a £5. They've a children's menu, a wine licence. They're open every day. And you'll get your T-bone steak special for $7.50. Who are you ringing now?
The Gondor, of course. What's the number?
The Gondor restaurant, Strand Road, Bray. Phone 863004.
Paint and Paper in Shankill are clearing out rolls and rolls of wallpaper in their super sale for 6 days only. All paper in stock is selling at £2.50 a roll, vinyls and embossed. You've got 6 days to get the best value in wallpaper at Paint and Paper in Shankill. All patterns must clear.
Aztrek, holidays with a difference for 18 to 35-year-olds. Call to 112 Main Street, Bray and pick up a brochure or phone 860-061.
Where are all the crowds going? They're going where the entertainment's great, to O'Shea's Hotel. Starting this Sunday, there's live entertainment and dancing with the group Another Photograph. Stick with the crowd. Make it O'Shea's Hotel, Seafront Bray.
Now, who remembers all those businesses? There's Marks there on the main street and 2 guys, was it? Or 3 guys?
3 brothers.
And the voiceover people there, just to mention them, there's Shay Byrne there, who's no longer with us, sadly. There's Andrew Hanlon, who went on to work for TV3, or whatever they're called now, Virgin Media. And good old Doug Maguire, and of course a younger version of me there. O'Shea's Hotel, remember that?
I do.
Oh,
Of course
yes.
you do, which
The
is
Martello.
now the Martello, yeah.
Can I ask you, Mark, about those ads? Francis Ford Coppola could rest because the acting in those ads back in the day.
Oscar-winning
Yeah.
performances,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Doug was the only one that had any kind of amateur dramatic experience, and he was really good at just taking a script and bringing it to life. I was just ham-fistedly, working my way through it. Shay was great at taking up voices and so on. But
I mean, you had to get the phone number was big back in the day. So whatever the ad would be. Oh, that's terrible. I must get that done. Right, ring them straight away on 01. And what's that number again? 01.
exactly, it wasn't even 01. It was 86 or 87. There was no 2.
We
before.
started 2539, I believe, and then we became 62539 and then 862539
And who bothers with the home phone anymore? I mean, do home phones exist anymore? I don't think they do.
And then, they're just lying there, batteries wasted, and people say, you're paying for it anyway, or they're throwing it in as part of the mix. Yeah, but nobody, I'd say if I put the phone on, I could wait for the next 55 years for it to ring because nobody would be ringing it. And do you remember the people's names in the phone book?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, you'd look at the phone book.
Yeah, that was wonderful. That was
Data
wonderful.
protection now, you wouldn't be able
Isn't it crazy? The data protection thing.
Yeah.
You can't even look up the voters' register anymore.
Oh, can you not?
No, that was a great thing, but now you can't look it up.
Yeah.
Unless you're an official.
But Mark's was one of the, it was a great,
It was fabulous.
fabulous.
It was
up opposite. Where would we say? Opposite the Jasmine House, down from the on the far side.
Yeah, down from the
Lifestyle
Jasmine
Sports
House.
or somewhere like that.
No, it was further up. I think it's actually probably where Enable Ireland is now.
Oh, yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I remember they always wore their brown coats.
That's right.
Over their,
Yeah,
like open all hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they sold an awful lot of like domestic tools and paints and stuff, but also a lot of farm implements that you could get it told the tale of people coming into Bray to get those farming stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it was available here, if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Oh yeah, Aztrek as well. Aztrek Travel. I mean,
They used to have a big transit van, was it? And it had written on it. Did you go off on a minibus thing, Mark? Or was
I don't know. But
or
I mean,
maybe that was just an ad.
travel agents are as well, they're not a thing of the past completely, but they are kind of. There are less of them now, I think, aren't there?
Yes,
Yeah.
which is a pity.
Okay, so there have been developments on something that we've discussed on this podcast several times, and that's the Cliff Walk.
Yeah, the Cliff Walk is, and of course, according to our survey, it's top of the charts in terms of people's interest in things in the town. Obviously, it was closed. People know it's closed for years now. The council closed it off due to a rockfall and clay slippage that damaged parts of the route. Now, fast forward to recent times when the council engaged RPS consultant engineers to carry out a technical assessment of the slopes, identify hazards, and then to propose some remediation options. Okay. In September of this year, the Greystones Cliff Walk Management Committee met with the engineers to review the report. And according to the friends of the Cliff Walk, that's Peter Murta and friends, and the crew that are reclaiming and keeping the Cliff Walk open from the Greystones side, they say that the report suggested simple and safe short-term solutions which would enable it to be almost opened immediately. The engineers have said, right, okay, a little bit of remedial work here, but nobody's really seen the report. And according to the council, it's remaining closed until...
Hold on, nobody's seen the report?
Apart from that management committee, okay, and the council themselves. So what's happened now is that the report exists to say that remedial work is done. The council say it's still not ready to be opened. It needs to be looked at in a bigger picture, with bigger work to be done. So the Friends of the Cliff Walk have filed a complaint to the Office of the Ombudsman, alleging that there's been maladministration in the Wicklow County Council, the way they've handled their correspondence and the way they've handled the closure of the walk.
And their responsibility. How they've handled their responsibility.
Well, this is it. The complaint mentions this, subsequent inaction from 21 upwards. And the group now are saying it's framed as a public right-of-way and it should be opened. So the latest is that the Ombudsman, according to the Greystones Guide, is looking at the complaint and it's open. Doesn't mean it's adjudicated upon or acted upon, but the complaint has been looked at.
But in a classic Irish style, the Cliff Walk's actually open.
So I heard, yeah.
So, if you want to take a walk,
which is good,
you'd probably do so, as we've said before, at your own risk. I was in Spain recently, in Nerja, and we were walking from one beach to another, and to get there, you had to walk along under a cliff face, right? Okay, now, I'm no expert, but I took a photograph of it, and we'll post it online. And they have done work to the cliff face so that people can walk along in safety. And it looked to me what's required for Bray. Now, here again, I am not an expert. They've drilled into the rock face. They've put a mesh, what looks like a mesh up, and then they've seemed to have cemented over that. And then there's another membrane over that again of earth-coloured...
concrete.
Perhaps concrete, I don't know. And it looks great, and it's obviously clearly effective because there's hundreds of people travelling along this walkway every day to get from one beach to the other. But it just struck me as this is something that obviously they've taken seriously in Spain and done something about it.
Well, what's known is that the RPS consulting engineers have said that they've compared this walk and it's comparable. It's fairly minor, the work that's required to keep it open at the moment. So this is part of the issue with the complaint, is that nothing's been acted upon. These engineers have suggested that there's remedial work to be done, but that it could almost be open.
So just to go back a little bit, I mean, the Cliff Walk's obviously been there for a very long time, and a good while ago, there was a gentleman who used to play regularly on the bridge, Fiddler's Bridge, and he was a fiddler. And you have a little bit of a story about him, thanks to our old friend Dermot Burnock.
Yeah, so we had Dermot on the last programme talking about housing in Bray, and we will be coming back to him for various things. But he told me a great story about a man that came up from West Cork who was known as the Blind Fiddler. It's a very interesting story. Let's hear from Dermot.
He was from a place called Trafrashke, and the way he used to come to Bray was extraordinary. He would come by ass and cart from Thrafrashke to Glengariff, from Glengariff to Bantry by boat, from Bantry to Cork City by train, then travel across the city to Glenmire station and the rest of the way up. And he had a farm and had reared 10 children. He was blind because of German measles from the age of 15, but had married and had 10 children, and 9 of those children all emigrated. Terrible lot of people from Beira Peninsula particularly emigrated to America, but they were all gone, and we looked them up in the census both times. But he was taught the fiddle early on by his, the local parish priest advised them to buy a fiddle. And so he started, and I think he came to Bray mainly to meet people, to lead an independent existence. He was coming here for 40 years, from perhaps around 1900, and he died in Castle Street. I remember him. He would stretch out his hand, big brown hand. He was a big man. He'd stretch out his hand and feel all my face when I was about 4 or 5, and my nose and everything. And I remember feeling terribly frightened. But my father wrote down old prayers from him and various things in Irish, which I still have.
So Diarmuid Murdoch there, and his recollections of the Blind Fiddler. I mean, 40 years. He played there for
That's
40
right.
years.
I don't remember him, but
and 10 children. That's what amazes me.
Yeah.
and the journey up from West Cork. I mean, it must have been worth his while to play on Fiddler's Bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, the buskers still play there to this day.
They do. Yeah. They do.
It's a trap, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah,
People have to go through there.
It narrows the wall. Yeah.
And that splits opinion, because a guy that's used to be at the end of the harbour in Dunleary, and as you walk to the end to contemplate looking over the thing, there'd be a guy with this melancholy. What does Barney McKenna play? The banjo.
Yeah.
And you really want to jump into the water yourself, but, and there's no escape.
Yeah, indeed.
Sometimes I don't actually like to see. This is just me.
In natural environments,
because I prefer to listen to the sea or whatever is happening. So I do find that difficult.
Somebody mentioned to me in the previous Vox Post with the Gen Zs, but I didn't put it in, but they were saying about he was shopping and he's gone back to cash, because he didn't know what he was spending in the shops with the card. And in the cost of living increase, he found it easier to work with cash, whatever. So then when you meet these buskers, people don't have cash to give them,
No, they should have.
Yeah.
Because I was collecting on the beach one time for Palestine, and we did have, a machine, and you could
tap.
Yeah. And it worked really well.
So another interesting landmark just near Fiddler's Bridge is the old Bray Head Hotel, which is now converted into luxury apartments. And you've been doing a bit of delving into the history, Leah, of that landmark, haven't you?
Yes, quite an interesting hotel, actually. It was built in 1860, and it wasn't the structure in those days that many of us would remember. It was a bit smaller, but it had wonderful gardens to the left of it, where now you would see the car park and the amusements. And it also, where the car park in front of the hotel was, that was also a garden. So you can see, because there wasn't many people driving, and they probably took a horse and carriage down as far as there. But it was well regarded. And in those days, after the railway came, Quinn's Hotel, which is now the Royal Hotel, was always the major hotel in Bray, and there was really nothing to challenge it. But slowly but surely, as Bray became the Brighton of Ireland and attracted very, well-to-do visitors, more hotels were built. And I have a lovely quote about Lacey's Bray Head Hotel, which I'm just going to read. And this is from 1860. Strangers visiting this delightful locality will find it to their advantage to call to the above hotel. Dinners supplied at the shortest notice. A table d'hote on Sunday and Mondays at 4 o'clock. Bed and breakfast, 31 shillings. Picnic parties supplied with a coffee, room capable of containing 40 persons. Refreshments of the best quality. But what's mainly interesting about this is that there's another quote from 1950 about the hotel. This hotel adjoins Bray Head at the south end of the Strand, much patronised at holiday time. I judged it to possess a certain quality, enhanced by its spacious public rooms and their comfortable, modern, but restrained appointment. A dance floor ringed by tables in the dining room, lounge bar fitted with wall seats, sun lounge, balconies, and some rooms with private baths were duly noted. And that's from Signpost, an independent guide to pleasant ports of call in Ireland, and it was printed in London in 1951. So there's our Bray Head Hotel, still 90 years later getting good reviews. Now most of us will remember it from the 80s into the 90s, when really it wasn't as popular as it had been then, but it was popular for the filmmakers, so quite a few films that were
The Commitments, Breakfast on Pluto, My Left Foot, they all
used it.
Scenes
were used there. And there was also a programme that I can't remember the name of, with a very famous writer, where she stayed in the hotel for a week and she talked about it. Yeah, that's right. And there was always a rumour that it was haunted, of course, because it was old. But
Deirdre Purcell.
Deirdre Purcell. I think that was it. Now I could be wrong, but it's fascinating. And even to the end, there was people staying there. Well, some characters staying there. So
Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor stayed or visited there.
What? The Bray Head.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if it was still getting great reviews in 1951. So it must have been a very posh hotel. I do remember some of the ceilings in it. From going there, because my mother brought me in to show me the ceilings, and they were absolutely magnificent. But does anybody out there remember the alternative disco that used to be held there in the 80s? Was it Tony Doyle
that was an initiative of Mr. Doyle?
Yes,
Tony was in.
I have to say it was great. The alternative was a great.
Tony Doyle was one of Jim Doyle's sons, and he ran that disco as an alternative. Hence the name, to the other discos on the seafront, I guess,
to the other discos.
Chicken and chips, I think was, if you were lucky, you got chicken and chips.
But it was wonderful because it was a new place to go. I mean, let's be honest here, you know.
That's right,
And we used to always think you had to dress a different way because you were going to the alternative, you know. So you didn't put on what you might put on to go to a different disco.
And you were saying it was 31 shillings back in 1950.
Which was quite expensive.
So 31 shillings, today's money would be what?
That was from 1850.
I think it was actually dearer than some of the comparable hotels.
It was dearer.
It was advertised as being in the finest situation in Bray because
with
it was
great
close.
Views.
Because obviously it's still there, but the veranda came out over it, and you could come out onto it and look over the sea, very close to the sea,
right beside the sea.
And I don't think there was a sea wall there at the time.
Okay.
Yes, so you could walk down to
and
the
at one
sea.
time it had its own chauffeur when it was a really posh hotel, and had gates at either end. So it was very posh. So now it's Fontenay Place, the old refurbished part in the front of the hotel, is for affordable letting or housing.
I think that's fabulous.
So people can now. The rent, you might go, it's affordable. It's 20 to 30% off the market rate for people, but like it's 1,100, 1,300 a month, depending on one or two bedrooms or whatever. So that's affordable nowadays.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you would have a great view.
I'm glad they kept the facade though, the old Victorian facade on it.
That is lovely. That is lovely. But the wall outside it, really needs to be upgraded, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really is
on the seaside. You mean?
Yeah,
yes,
it really does need to be upgraded.
Yeah, well, there will be some sort of. I think it's going to be a lounge bar or cafe. Big cafe, lounge bar, whatever, going to be open down there.
Is there?
Yeah, well, no, it's ready to. We went to tender, looking for people to take it. And obviously, on the way up to Bray Head, just past Bray Head, were a series of shops. Used to be a series of shops there.
Yeah, they're all houses now.
They're all housing now, you know.
One of the shops did the best toffee apples.
Yeah.
When I think about them, they were hideous, you know. But we used to go there just especially to get a toffee apple.
Yeah, so there was the Bray Rock toffee apples and candy floss.
Candy floss.
The dentist's delight.
Yes, yeah. Does Bray Rock still exist?
Oh, it does, yeah, absolutely. You can buy it down the seafront. I've seen it in the shop window. The one beside at the very bottom of Putland Hill there where you turn off, there's Bray Rock. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. We'll get some the next time.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, so let's just jump back a little bit in time to what people had to entertain themselves back in the Bray of yesteryear. Back to Headley Wright again. Headley has great recall about the entertainment and stuff that was available back then.
Yeah, Desmond Headley Wright.
Headley Wright. Sorry, excuse me.
Right. People just called him Headley Wright. Thought that was his name.
It's a great name.
It was actually a double
Headley.
barrel surname. Desmond Headley Wright.
Oh, so Headley is his surname.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Headley
interesting
Wright.
because we always just knew him as Headley.
Yeah, so did
Headley.
I.
No, it's Desmond Headley Wright.
So I thought that was his first name.
So
There
he
you
lived.
go.
He lived in the number 1 Albert Walk there, and also he was a photographer as well. He used to do photography around Bray, and then a bit of an actor and everything. Anyway, he came down to Bray, and he does talk about discovering. In another program, we'll do it. He was the one that teed up Val Doonigan on the seafront. He came down or whatever. He tells very interesting stories. But anyway, in this little story here, he's talking about the 5 dance halls in Bray. So we mentioned just beforehand the Bray Head, and it was renowned for its dance, its floor, its maple floor and whatever, like Laurel Park was. But now, I suppose, I don't know many discotheques there are in Bray, but back in the day, there was 5 dance halls. So let's hear Headley talking about them.
You're giving your age away there. Discotheques. Good Lord.
There were 5 dance halls in Bray those days. We're talking of, say, 5 years after the war. There was GBH in Quinsborough Road, up above where Dunn's is now, upstairs. Then you came down and you went halfway down the seafront and you had the Ace of Spades halfway along the seafront and obviously on the right-hand side. Not very big, but very popular, and they did matinees. Then you had the Eagle's Nest up on the top of the head. You had to go up somehow or other, climb back by dark. There was also a dance hall, very nice, I loved it, in the International itself, in the hotel, which of course is no longer there. And they, on a Saturday night, did a cabaret and a meal and a dance. The Moonglows was the name of the little band, and the signature tune was Moonglow. Sweet song, lovely song. Then you had the Arcadia, lovely, but it was really only Nissen huts painted. It's only when you got to look at it closely that you realised. But it was very popular, and anybody who was anybody wanted to play there. Ruby Murray and McDellahunty, they came, and they were very popular. Dozy Deaky, Mick and Titch, they came there. The Blue Jeans, I remember them, didn't think much of them, however. I think Ruby Murray was the only one ever to have 5 in the top 10 at one time. Very nice woman, but hit the bottle later. McDellahunty had a nice, quiet dance band. Very nice. Nothing ostentatious about it. Very pleasant. When you were going into the dance hall, if you were sober, you didn't get in if you weren't. You paid for your ticket for the Arcadia, and you bought your bus ticket at the same time. And if you wanted it, you could pay for your taxi ticket as well. And Roy Orbison, that was a night. The night of Roy Orbison, the buses, double-deckers, went from railway station up to Malloy's, because I went out and had a look. Nothing but double-decker buses the whole way.
So the Big O played in Bray. Roy Orbison.
I'd love to have seen him.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Amazing singer.
Incredible,
amazing.
Isn't it?
That is fabulous.
Great recall there. GBH was the name of one of the clubs.
Yes.
Grievous bodily harm.
Yeah, we think of that a different way. But he didn't mention Laurel Park. Was that later?
Well, that was over. You see, that wasn't technically in Bray, wasn't it? It was in the far side.
Not. Yeah.
But the cliff always intrigued me was the Eagle's nest.
Yes.
You had to
walk up. That's why the steps were
the steps
there.
were put in for that.
Imagine going up, as young couples and teenagers up to
it must have been great because you came down in the dark.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
Yeah.
That must have been great fun.
I mean, you think of the times he's talking about there, the dance halls, obviously some, live bands, entertainment, the music. Bray had 3 cinemas at the time, but we have, I don't know, we've 1 disco or 2 discos now.
The Coup.
The Coup disc. That's 1, isn't it? 1 we have.
I think it's the only one. And everybody I know has gone to the
They're
Coup.
They're speaking with authority about this as if they're regulars, Yeah,
and getting back, obviously we're of our own generation, but getting back to that younger generation, they don't drink.
Not like Ruby Murray did.
No, not like Ruby Murray. And what happens there too is that because they don't really go out or drink, they don't really socialise as much. And there's not many of these nightclubs or discotheques or dance halls to go to. So in terms of what they call social capital, they're poor. Their livers are great, but they don't meet up because there's nowhere to go to.
So they're not liverish at all. I'd love to open a late night coffee shop. I think that would be fabulous.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, they're a big hit in Spain and Portugal. I mean, obviously.
That you could go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't like the smell of coffee, so I'm not the right person. But I think if there was somebody out there with some business acumen, I think that's a real possibility.
But very hard to go into a pub and ask for a coffee or tea at night time, I suppose.
Yeah, and we'll get back to the things that Headley was talking about there. I mean, what an array of entertainment that was available.
Yeah.
That you had to go out for. I mean, it's a bit what Colbert Martin said in the last episode, where television killed the debating society. Mm-hmm. Television seems to have killed lots of things in terms of people going out for entertainment and so on.
But here's the thing, guys. The dance halls, okay, so, you had somewhere to go. Now, it was mentioned in our Vox Pop in the previous programme, like places to go to sit around even. Yeah. There's been a retraction of public space and of social space.
Yeah. And that is a pity because if you read any articles all about, about dating sites, they're not very successful from what I can gather.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the UK, they're talking about on the big venues, a levy on the ticket, so that would fund smaller venues, the ones that are going out of business, And there's a big Bring Back the Night campaign too, with night stars and whatever, to open up the nighttime economy.
Well, I know that I have a son of 25 and all his friends are around that age. And there's a few places that they go in Bray because there's live music, but they also go into town a lot.
Yeah.
And you still have the likes of Whelan's or whatever, which goes on for quite a while, and then they can get the bus home, which is great because the buses now are running all night.
Well, and there's no substitute for live music. I mean, I just think watching live bands, live performers, there's just no substitute for it.
No substitute
it's absolutely
whatsoever.
Brilliant. And on that positive note, rather than dwelling on the past and saying how wonderful the past was, because obviously it was, but it was a different time. Things
and it wasn't
changed.
always great. Let's be honest.
It wasn't
here.
always great,
Yeah.
precisely.
Yeah.
So on that note, from me, goodbye.
And me, goodbye.
Is that you a bit of a downer, guys? I mean,
no, I have to say one last thing, if you don't mind.
Okay, go on.
Roy Orbison has a song called Leah.
Go away. Oh yes, yeah.
If only we could play it here.
Yeah, and in that documentary where that story comes from, it's all full of the music of Roy Orbison and whatever to underpin it. But on podcasting, you have to extract the music because you can't for copyright reasons. Now, before we go, let me just say, don't forget to recommend us. We're like Cadbury's Roses. Give this gift that keeps on giving to somebody else, okay? Pass it on to your worst enemy. Here's Bray Talking Heads.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay,
goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Bray Talking Heads, stories from a seaside town. To contact the show, email braytalkingheads@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Blue Sky at Bray Talking Heads. Bray Talking Heads. History, stories, opinions and conversations. A podcast for Brayites everywhere.